Missouri Tigers secure a 45-3 win over UMass in week 7. It was an odd game going into it. It was odd that they were ever going to play here. And it was an odd game in general. A lot of freshmen getting involved. A lot of guys don't expect to see this season getting involved. So good to see them getting up some opportunities. Weird things overall. They had Marquise Johnson had to hold a kick for kickoff for Blake Craig because of the win. So that was a factor in it as well. So we get flashback to the first 2 weeks of the season, having to question what can we really grasp from from this win here. Joey Van Zummeren, one of your football reporters here on Missouri on SI, joined by Michael Stamps. Michael, what do you take away from this one?
Kind of like you alluded to, not much. It was a good offensive performance, good defensive performance.
Mhm.
I think Coach Drinkwitz said it in some of his stuff after still missing tackles and things like that. So by no means was it perfect.
Yeah.
I think Missouri was always going to uh walk into Massachusetts and grab a win. So no real concerns. And I do think we saw the passing game and the downfield attack slightly improved today.
Hmm.
Still some missed throws, but we saw some shots on the field. There was, his Brady Cook's connection with Brett Norfleet.
Yep.
So that was probably a positive sign for some Missouri fans. We saw the trio of running backs get involved as well. Nate Noel obviously out. Luther Burden was explosive in the first half, which is always good to see. So, I mean, more positives than negatives. It
Yeah.
was a 40-point win, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah, exactly. I think going into this game, the articles I was writing this week, it was like, what can Mizzou really get out of this road trip they agreed to in 2019 under two athletic administrations ago? What can they really get out of this? And after that loss to Texas A&M, it became more of they can try some new things in this game. Whereas before it might have been, we know who we are at this point of the season, we know what we're capable of. What are we really going to gain out of this? I think they had the opportunity to try out some new things. I think if anything, we saw them revert back to a little bit of what was working for them last year, especially with the involvement of Luther Burden and kind of the creative uses he got involved in. Obviously, that touchdown he had, it's a sweep, and he's still been getting a little bit of involvement of that in this year, but just not quite as much as he did last year, where it was just finding ways to get him the ball no matter what the scenario was, and found him on some quick yardage situations where he was just able to catch and run. He had 35 yards after the catch today. Obviously, on that touchdown, he showed off his trademark elusiveness. So good to see that from Luther. And I think overall from this offense, which was the main part I was watching, again, you got to take everything they show on film here as a grain of salt. But I think what they did in the red zone, how they were able to find that balance of the run game and pass game finally was a encouraging sign for them that they'll be able to take into the future here. Any thoughts on the offense, Michael, before moving things over?
I mean, I said it earlier this week on our podcast episode. There's so many receivers who just need the ball in their hands
Yep.
to make a play, and I think they did a little bit better job, obviously, with Burden, doing some sweeps and some handoffs and things like that. We saw a lot of that last year, like you said, effective. It's still effective now, so it's good to see that. We obviously hope Luther Burden is healthy. It sounds like Coach Drinkwitz,
Hmm.
made that sound like it wasn't anything too concerning, but also said that we had to wait till the first injury report on Wednesday. So I guess we'll learn that there. It was nice to see the running game involved. Marcus Carroll looked very good on
Hmm.
15 carries. I think he finished with 91 yards and obviously 3 touchdowns. It's kind of more situations where we would expect to see him those short down yardage, run up the gut type stuff. So it was good to see that, and obviously Q and Lacey, Jamal Roberts, and Tavares Jones as well all got a little bit of a workload. But yeah, I mean, again, nothing really jumps out. Joshua Manning's touchdown
Yeah.
was a pleasant surprise. He showed off some of his work after the catch, which he's not necessarily known for, but that was still good to see. So again, nothing crazy stands out. They did their job today, I think, is really the main
Yeah.
takeaway.
Exactly. Moving things over defensively, kind of the same thing there, and even less of a thing to take away from this game from the defense side of the ball. They have that bad drive right before the end of the half, before Corey Fly gets that interception there. But other than that, they got involved with some freshmen too. Nick Rodriguez stepping in with Tristan Newsom missing this game with injury. Khalil Jacobs also went out, so they also opened up the door for Brayshawn Littlejohn got involved a little bit as well. So good to see the depth on that side of the ball, the youth that Eli Drinkwitz said at the start of the year is going to be a really good defense in a few years here. So Michael, your thoughts on the defense and just overall the freshmen we saw getting involved?
Yeah, again, it's kind of hard to take,
Yeah,
something away. Nick Rodriguez did look very good. He's a good open field tackler, so he's going to
right.
be someone that is probably more involved. Probably not this season, but seasons to come, he's going to be someone that sticks around. Trajan Greco made a nice play in the
Yeah.
backfield. I think Williams Nwaneri got his first career sack, so it's nice to see him get a little bit of run. Jalen Brown as well, and some of the other young guys. I believe Sam Williams
Mhm.
on the defensive line had himself a nice little game, 4 or 5 tackles. So it was a nice, nice viewing wise to see some of those less experienced guys get more involved and make some plays and kind of give us a glimpse of the future, I suppose.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, again, they did their job. That the only drive that stands out to me as not good was the one that resulted in that flag interception, and they didn't have to worry about it because
Yep.
he got the interception. So nothing glaringly bad. I mean, it was pretty. I want to say average, but
Yeah. What they were expected to do.
yes, exactly.
And now turning the page, now that Mizzou has a non-conference schedule behind them, now entering the three-game stretch that was built up all season long. Auburn, Alabama bye week, and then Oklahoma. Oklahoma is playing Texas right now in the Red River game. Michael, next week against Auburn, early look at this game. What is the one thing you really hope to see Mizzou show off in that week 8 game?
I am looking towards the secondary. The Auburn has a group of very nice receivers. There's 6 or 7 of them really that can put in the work and make plays. So it's going to be an important game for the Missouri secondary and Missouri defense as a whole to stop those guys. Jarquez Hunter obviously is a high end SEC running back as well, who's had himself a nice little season so far. So I think defensively, that they're going to have some playmakers to keep an eye on, and then offensively too, it's going to be a game where Brady Cook is going to be relied on to make big plays, and if he doesn't, then we're going to see you know maybe something crazy happen.
Less specifically for me on opponent wise, I think for this Mizzou offense, I'm just looking to see if they can do it against SEC talent. Obviously, they looked good today. Um, and I think the main key to that is just, again, finding that right balance between the run game and passing game. Eli Drinkwood said earlier this week when I asked him, he knows that they can run the ball well, that they can run it effectively. And now the challenge is just finding that right mix of whatever this passing game truly is, which I still don't think they really know at this point. Honestly, it was interesting to see the lack of deep passing shots they took. I thought they were just going to try to force some home runs just to like prove to themselves they could do it. But as Eli Drinkwood said after the game in the second quarter, third quarter, even though Mizzou had clearly secured the game at those points, he wanted to see Brady Cook go through his reads, make the right throws, have the time to make accurate throws. And so we'll see how he evaluates that and what game plan they roll out against Auburn next week. But that's all we have for you here on Missouri SI's post game show. We hope you tune into the rest of our coverage leading into this Auburn game. We appreciate you tuning into this video.